First and foremost, I'm aware that there are 2 other videos talking about this very topic, as I always search YouTube to see if whatever video I'm doing is unique. I only say this to clarify, I have not watched these videos, I just know they exist. So if I say anything similar to whatever they said in their videos, I'm not on some Crollo gimmick, it's just great minds think alike, I guess. So I don't like theory videos too much, but I had to make a theory video. Rest assured though, as the video length will indicate, I will make this quick.
I'm a liar. Hate me, please. I'm a liar. I'm a fraud.
Also, manga spoilers are up ahead. If you're filthy, no good, stinking anime only, take your ass back in the madhouse. You can't sit with us.
You can't sit with us!
Neon Nostrade is highly likely to be dead. At the end of chapter 377, Shizuku asks Crollo to use his lovely Ghost Rider, an ability he stole from Neon and York New. Crollo, however, reveals that this ability has vanished from his book, of course meaning he can't use it, but in the bigger picture, implicates the death of Neon. How? Well, in chapter 352, Crollo informs Hisoka during their fight that once a person dies, their stolen abilities vanish from his book for good. Therefore, we can infer that either Neon is dead or that Crollo is a capper, and I think I'll go with the former. The real question and where the theory kicks in is the how and why in the death of Neon. So, let me first address the common belief among fans. Most people think that it was Hisoka who killed Neon, which makes a lot of sense. In fact, it makes so much sense, I think it might be a red herring by Sneaky Tagashi. Before I get into my take though, I'll explain why the Hisoka angle is a pretty valid interpretation. In chapter 357, after Hisoka gets murdered by Crollo and revived via his bungee gum, he declares to Machi that his goal now is to hunt down the Phantom Troop. Hisoka makes good progression on his newly found ambition by murdering the 3D printer guy and Super Saiyan Boost Mobile guy. This is important because in Crollo's fight with Hisoka, Crollo stole and utilized Gallery Fake and Black Voice, the abilities of Cortopi and Sharnart respectively. This means one or a combination of 3 things. 1. Hisoka killed Cortopi and Sharnart because they were simply in the vicinity. 2. Hisoka killed Cortopi and Sharnart because he knew they'd be much weaker with Crollo possibly still possessing their stolen abilities. And 3. Hisoka, knowing about Skill Hunter, targeted Cortopi and Sharnart specifically because their abilities were used against him and it would limit the arsenal of Crollo. And as I said, Hisoka could have killed them for 1, 2, or all 3 of those reasons, but working with this theory, let's focus on the last one. Hisoka wants to limit Crollo's options by eliminating the people whose abilities he's stolen. If we work with that line of thinking, it's logical to believe Hisoka killed Neon to stop Crollo from using his fortune telling ability. After all, it was useful enough to stop the deaths of 4 other spiders, and although Crollo never name dropped the original user of Lovely Ghost Rider, he did narrow down who it could be with information that it came from a girl whose patrons included the Dons. Point is, that could be enough information for Hisoka to track down and kill another person in Crollo's book club for the purpose of hurting Crollo's fighting chances. That whole theory is very solid, but I do have 2 issues with it. For one, Hisoka's MO isn't murdering non-combatants. This isn't to say Hisoka wouldn't kill someone like Neon, just that he doesn't usually go for someone like her who would have been a regular girl at that point. I also think if Hisoka did in fact kill Neon, there should have been focus on Kurapika dealing with his failure to protect her, and that isn't to say Kurapika cares for Neon, just that his sense of duty is strong. With that being said, my alternative perspective to this would explain how Neon died without us needing a reaction from Kurapika. So here it goes. Neon killed herself.
Everyone, boo this nigga!
No murder, no Hisoka, but suicide. I know, anticlimactic, but that is how I believe Neon died, and I'll try my best to frame why I think this is the case. So, Who is Neon? She is the daughter of Light Nostrade, a former small-time mafia boss who rose in power due to the exploitation of Neon's fortune-telling abilities. It is outright stated that Neon's father cares more about her powers than Neon herself. Neon's relationship with her father obviously isn't healthy, and it is one that can be described as manipulative on both sides. Light spoils Neon so that he can reap the benefits of her fortunes, and Neon uses her fortune-telling ability as leverage to get whatever she wants. The result of this is a dad whose only concern is with appeasing his daughter, and a daughter who is a 17-year-old brat who often throws tantrums whenever something doesn't go her way. This establishes two things in my overall picture. One, Light would have a terrible relationship with Neon if she didn't provide him with fortunes. And two, Neon is extremely emotional. Now, let's look at Neon as a nin user. Neon is not a traditional nin user who trained for an ability. In fact, she isn't even aware of nin. Neon is one of the few nin geniuses, which are people that use nin without formally learning it. For example, Benny DeLon, the serial killer and blacksmith, left faint traces of nin on the knives he made that we saw in the York New arc, as well as Zepile, who left traces of his nin in the counterfeit vase he made. The most notable though is Komugi, who put her very being into the game of Gungi. The common denominator amongst these group of people is that they all have loved something or worked hard enough at something for them to use nin unconsciously, and Neon is not exempt in this. In her conversation with Crollo, Neon talks about her influence for doing fortune telling. When she was younger, she watched a fortune teller on TV named the Galactic Matron and eventually adopted her philosophy that fortunes are meant to make the living happy. This scene with Crollo is brief, but it is one of the only times the audience sees Neon carry a mature conversation, which is an indication of how passionate Neon is about fortune telling. Now, keeping everything that I said about Neon in mind, think about how things would be for her after she can't tell fortunes anymore. If you don't recall, when Crollo steals an ability, he actually steals it, meaning the original user is stripped of their Hatsu as long as it's in Crollo's possession. No fortunes from Neon means that her father will rapidly lose money. Light spent 2.9 billion on the Kurta eyes, which he is visibly shaken by as he knows that's well over his budget. However, at the time, he thinks it's a good investment as he relies on Neon's fortune telling, earning him his money back. The dramatic irony of that is that the Kurta eyes were Kotopi fakes, which would eventually disappear, and that Neon already had her fortune telling ability stolen. So now she is just an ordinary girl with a depraved sense of taste. So after Light spent all that money trying to appease his daughter, she now cannot provide for him. This would put Light in an odd situation, one that is akin to the dilemma of what to do after taking a bit loss in gambling. Some people keep gambling and pray for the best. Some people cut their losses. The issue is the casino in this example is Light's very own daughter, and no matter what he does, he will never see a return on his investment from her, thus further decaying an already fragile relationship that has now lost its foundation. And from Neon's perspective, if the Nostrades are losing money, she now cannot do nor buy the things she was accustomed to getting on a whim. So I ask you, what is left of Neon, an already unstable 17-year-old girl who is now forced to adjust to a modest lifestyle? She has no support from her father as she isn't anymore used to him, and her one calling in life is completely gone from her without any notice. Just think, day after day, Neon tries to help her father as his money starts to dwindle. She tries to make someone happy by telling her fortune, but she just cannot do it no matter how hard she tries. I think the weight of reality eventually crushed her, got her in a state of deep depression, and drove her to take her own life. And if you still think that's a bit extreme, remember, a fellow nin genius, Komugi, was prepared to die if she lost even one game of Gungi. This is how passionate these nin geniuses are in what they do, and that was stolen from Neon. That, people, is my theory on what happened to Neon. I apologize if this video was too long for some people. I really did try to make it short, but I wanted to explain myself as much as possible since I'm sure it's hard to sell people on this theory. Tell me, what do you believe? Am I full of shit? Do you think Hisoka killed Neon? Do you think someone else killed her? Or do you think Neon is actually alive in Cuba with Tupac sipping pina coladas? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I'm Satsuki the Savage, and I am out.
Life is just death, taking its time. Who gon' take it from my hand? Was lonely before friends. I'm holding my own hand and taking these bad shots, just hoping they go in. Everything folds in.